Hello, my name's Johnny London and welcome to my vlog. Now, today should be something of a red letter day for me because I'm hopefully going to get to cruise my boat. Let me explain. The last cruise I had was actually on the 20th of December last year. I was moored just several miles west of here in a little place called Hampstead Marshall. Now, it was a lovely morning, the sun was out, the wind had dropped. The river was quite high, but it was about as pleasant a day as you could really expect for December. So I got ready, headed off, did the first lock, that was all lovely and fine, did the second lock, then I saw the fuel boat, so I had a chat to Oz and topped up the fuel tank while I was at it. Always good to keep your diesel fuel topped up, even if you're not going to use a lot, because it helps to keep diesel bug at bay. I'll talk about that another time. And so I did the last lock, which I think was Gaia's lock. I hate that lock. It's a really splashy lock and it always makes the front of the boat all horrible and wet because the gates don't close very well. But on this occasion I was coming the other way, I was locking down, and yeah, sure enough I couldn't even get one of the gates to close. So luckily there was another boat coming along behind me and they lent me a hand. So I arrived just on this is the western edge of Newbury town centre, and I thought there's a lovely spot, I might as well just pull in here. I can do my Christmas shopping, spend a few days. So I hopped off the boat with a rope in one hand and a pin in the other, and before I could even get the pin in, the boat was away. So I had to jump back on the boat quickly, reverse it back in, and of course this kept happening. It was just the sheer speed of the current of the water, which was about 4 miles an hour. In the end, a passerby came along and helped hold a rope for me while I got a pin in, and then I was able to get the rope in the pin and I was able to get the rest of the pins on and everything was okay. But when I came in for a well-earned cup of tea and checked my email, it turns out that while I had been cruising, CRT sent an email to say, this stretch of the Kennet and Avon, flood conditions, red, do not cruise. So there you go. Always check your emails before you set out, which I did. And if you find yourself cruising in red conditions, well, it's basically to be avoided at all times, but be prepared for some hassle when you're trying to get the boat to stop or indeed manoeuvre. Anyway, that was, as I already said, the 20th of December. Because of that flood, I was unable to move the boat for a good few weeks. I don't actually know how long we were in flood here for, because CRT actually never sent another email to say that the flooding had passed, because before that had happened, we'd run into this business with the pandemic. So, long story short, or not that short, but acceptably brief, let's say, I have been moored here in the same spot just west of Newbury town centre since the 20th of December. Now finally today the cruising rules are such that we are allowed to cruise now, and the flood has presumably long since gone. I've heard no more about it. People's gardens are dry once again, the sport field can be seen, it's no longer a lake. In fact, local people were saying it was the worst flooding that they'd ever seen around here, pretty much living memory. So, I mean, it was quite bad. But hopefully today we're going to ready the boat and go for a bit of a cruise. So let's go and get the boat ready now. Here I'm going to put the tiller arm on. Just remove that LED lamp. It's purely decorative. I'm just checking that the tiller still rotates nice and freely. That seems fine. I'll just get the tiller pin and that will secure the arm properly. There we go. On this boat I have a comms mast. It contains a UHF aerial for TV reception, a VHF aerial for the radio, and there's also a 4G aerial which is for my broadband. I like to lay this flat on the roof, that way if I encounter any unexpected low bridges, tunnels or overhanging branches, well, I won't have too much of a problem. The small fenders are deployed prior to cruising. I don't like to leave them down when I'm moored, the reason being that if there's a strong flow of current on the river, they can tap against the sides of the boat and that can be quite annoying. These are the ones that I use when I'm moored, old tyres, and they work very well indeed. But hold on a minute, who's that in there? Sorry fella, you'll have to find a new home now. There's another tyre to take care of at the bow of the boat. Each one has holes drilled in them, so they let the water drain out easily when I lift them up. There's no creatures in this one, just a piece of old stick. I'll stow him out of the way on the well deck. There's two more small fenders to take care of on the port side, but it's quite a long walk down the side of my boat. After all, it is 62 feet long. Here we go, just drop that last one in. But who's this? Sorry guys, I don't have any bread with me today. I always like to take the chimney stack down before I cruise. It's not that high and it will clear most bridges comfortably, but you never know, I could get blown over into the path of a low overhanging branch or something like that, so I just prefer to have everything as low down on the roof as possible. That way it just saves any problems.
It's been a while since these ropes have been undone.
Well, I don't want the boat to drift away unexpectedly, so I always tie my knots pretty good. As you can see, I've put that rope through the peg 3 times over. This is going to take a minute.
If you can't tie knots, tie lots.
Nearly there now. Ropes should always be stowed for easy access. You never know what you're going to want and when. I'll coil this one up loosely and just leave him on the hatch of the bow. It'll be fine like that, and I can get to it if I need it quickly. Well, it's gotten a little overgrown here since I moored, but I have to remember to take my pegs with me, otherwise I'll be in trouble at the next spot. This is the stern line I'm undoing now, but the ducks still think I've got some food for them.
Hello.
I like to leave that rope just coiled up and hanging from the top of the tiller arm. Oh yes, don't forget that pin either. It's time to start the engine. I turn the key to the first position and the control panel takes me through a short sequence of lights just to check that they're all working. I wait until the yellow light goes out, which always seems to take ages when you're trying to show anyone. Then I can start the engine. We're ready to go. So join me for part 2 when I'll take you on a cruise.